This is session number 14 in the Alcoholic Rehabilitation Series, and we will begin this session as we have the others by first getting yourself in as completely relaxed a position as possible. Let your whole body become completely relaxed. You're letting yourself sink deep into a completely relaxed state. Let's go over a few of the muscle groups briefly to practice deepening this state of complete relaxation. Your eyes are closed, you're completely relaxed. And now think about your legs. Think about them first as having a mild degree of tension in them. Maybe ripple the muscles in your legs, both legs, just a little bit. Just flex the muscles very slightly. That's it. Now that you've done that, now let them go. Just let them relax. Even with this mild practice on the muscle tension and relaxation, you can make some big differences. Think about how completely relaxed those leg muscles are. Notice they're becoming limp. This is something that you're consciously doing yourself. You're making them limp, becoming heavy and limp. Your whole body's becoming more and more relaxed as you relax these muscles. Now you're moving up to your arms. Do the same things with your arms without really flexing hard. Just kind of feel the muscles flexing a little bit. Let them just kind of ripple a little bit. Just so that you're aware your muscles are there. Now let your arms relax completely. Think of them as becoming heavy and limp and numb. Your arms are becoming completely relaxed. Now let yourself take a deep breath. Let it out really slow. Feels good. Just that deep breath. And the concentration on the muscles relaxing. These kinds of things, this kind of practice can get you through a lot of situations. Now, let yourself go deeper and deeper. Tell yourself whatever suggestions are helpful, get you into a state of deep relaxation. Go ahead and tell yourself whatever you can to relax yourself even deeper. Notice how much more relaxed you are now. You've succeeded in putting yourself into a completely relaxed state. Now we're going to try to work on one of the problems that seem to come up off and on with the alcoholic. The question of success and failure. It seems the alcoholic is somebody who doesn't feel real comfortable with a lot of success, and he feels very uncomfortable with a lot of failure, and yet it isn't easy to always find just that happy middle ground. So now we're going to have you imagine yourself on your way home from work. You're driving along in your car, looking out at the familiar sights along the side of the road, seeing the bushes and trees go by. The road is familiar. And as you're driving along, you're thinking about how well things have been going lately. They've been going really good for you. Imagine that it's been some months now since you last had a drink. The last time you had a drink, it wasn't very pleasant. You swore off at that time. And so far, as you're driving along, you're thinking that you've made good at it. You've made good on your promise. You went to work at that time after your last drinking episode some months back. Been working pretty regular since then. And you went to work today. And something happened today that has now placed you in a little bit of a confused state. The boss told you that he likes your work. You wonder why that would make you a little confused. In fact, he told you, the boss, that he likes it so much that he is going to give you more responsibility. That's what he told you today. He's going to put a few men under you for you to supervise. And of course, you'll be getting more money for the job. You felt pretty good about it, even though you wondered why you were becoming a little confused about it. Kind of a nervous feeling. The boss told you, "Oh, I like your work," and you remember looking at him and wondering if you were able to really believe him. Why was he really telling you this? And yet you know that you have been working hard. You know you've been producing. He should be happy with your work. But yet, for some reason, it just didn't set just right with you. And in fact, as you recall, you used to respond more when people would tell you you were a failure. For some reason, this cut deep, and it was as though you were able to say, "Yes, yes, I am." When people tell you you're a success, that's confusion because you're not used to that. You're thinking all this as you drive home. You're going over what happened today, wondering why are you vaguely uneasy, and yet at the same time, why are you not feeling even better about this success? And then you wonder, maybe things have been going real well, but maybe they've been going too good. Maybe they've been going too well. They've never gone this well before, in fact. You've never quite had this much success in your whole life. And you start experiencing a feeling of a little bit of panic begins building up inside of you about how well things have been going. You have the uneasy feeling that something's going to happen to blow the whole thing apart. Every time before, when you've gotten a little bit of success, gotten a little bit of money ahead, things going very well at home, something always happened to blow up everything. Usually, you got drunk. Then, you'd sober up, bail yourself out, pay off your debts under a lot of pressure to produce, make up lost time, work hard, until you got back to where you just were having a little bit of money left over from your check. You could have done with it what you wanted. You started enjoying life a little, and then you went into a nosedive again. You start feeling that this might be one of those times. Somehow you think it just can't last. This promotion going well at home, it's going too good. It's not going to last. You decide that maybe you weren't cut out for success, to enjoy the good things in life, to enjoy a steady job. It's like when you're really down and out, you hate it, it's miserable, but if you're on top with no debts, you still feel vaguely uncomfortable. You can't stand either very much success or very much failure. Your drinking bouts and episodes were often tied in to you trying to move out of the success range into the middle range of not quite succeeding so strongly, but not quite failing either. But you always went right past the middle range down to the bottom. And yet somehow you always knew you would go right to the bottom for some reason. And on the way down, you always lost everything. Here you are again, just facing the same situation. Success is you're right on the edge of quite a bit of success. And somehow when you're in one of these failure situations after you've lost everything, you feel like, I am a failure, but yet the pressure's gone. It's kind of like, I've lost everything, I can't lose any more. They can't take any more away from me since I've already lost everything there is to lose. You feel miserable, you run yourself down when you're in that situation, but at the same time, nobody can get at you because nobody can make it any worse than it has been. So sometimes failure can be sweet because it keeps you from having to worry about when are you going to lose all these things you've worked for anyway. You're still thinking, you're still driving home, feeling vaguely uneasy. It begins occurring to you some other thoughts. If you succeed, you're really disobeying somebody's orders. How many thousands of times did someone tell you, you are going to be a failure? They'd say, if you didn't shape up, if you don't shape up, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you're going to be a failure. You're going to end up a drunken bum. You're going to spend a lot of time in jail. It's funny how you can't remember the first part if you don't shape up, but you still remember their predictions, their sayings of what was going to happen to you. You were going to spend a lot of time in jail, they said. You can still remember. Maybe it was your mother. Maybe it was your father who gave you those long lectures about how you better shape up or into failure. No matter what you did, they somehow made it out to seem like it wasn't enough. No matter what you accomplished, they still felt that it was a failure somehow. And so you feel even now the same way. On the surface, you've been working hard, you're out of debt, you're bailing out, you're feeling good, but somehow it isn't enough and it's not going to last. You know what's coming, you think, because after success, you think the only thing that can come is failure. If you go ahead and succeed, it's like disobeying the direct orders, somebody's direct orders for you to fail. It's almost like there's a big neon sign saying, fail, fail, blinking off and on in your head. Pushing you to fail, wanting you to fail, expecting you to fail, told you you're going to fail. The people who gave you these orders were afraid that you might succeed. If you did, they would have some problems. If you failed for them as you have in the past, you wouldn't be a threat to them. But if you're lying in jail someplace, drunk, sick, without a job, as they predicted, then the jobs that they have look really good by comparison, because you haven't amounted to anything. You feel that failure is coming as sure as anything you ever felt in your life, because success has been too good lately. You feel a vague, uncomfortable feeling somewhere, someplace, someone's going to blow it all apart for you. Every other time, to avoid somebody destroying it for you because you thought it was coming anyway, you always got drunk and took care of it yourself. That way, at least you got in the first punch. At least you knew what it was that got you out of your job, out of your friends, and maybe out of your home. You're thinking of when you were just 8. You're driving home from work in your car now. When you were just 8, you were coming home from school one day. You were riding home on your bicycle, and the block bully, the big kid down the block, he was 10. You were 8. He was waiting there for you. He was a big dumb kid who picked on other kids all the time. You were riding your bicycle along. There he was. You tried to ride around him, but he jumped out in front of your bike and grabbed the handlebars. He stopped your bike. He wouldn't let you get by. You started to become angry, you remember that, and afraid at the same time. You said to him, "You let that bicycle go. I have to get home and I can't be late." He just laughed at you. He didn't respect the higher authority of your parents. "Where do you think you're going?" he said. "I've got to get home," you told him. "Let me go." You tried to keep from it, but you were angry, you were frightened, and you had begun to cry. He said, cry baby," and he seemed to want to pick a fight. He was just a bully and seemed determined to fight. You knew then that he might have kept you there for a whole hour, and eventually start shoving you around and push you into a fight. You couldn't stand that. The slow, long humiliation, seeing yourself going down slowly in defeat over a period of time, an hour, as he bullied you, you're being later and later at home. You remember what you did. You hauled off and slugged him with all your might. He was big, and you didn't do too much damage, but then he got mad. He let go of your bike, and he jumped on you. He beat you up, and as he was beating you up, it was almost a relief. At least you didn't have to wait there for it to happen. You knew it was going to happen, but then you didn't have to wait anymore. You knew it was going to happen anyway, and now that it was getting over with, as he beat you up, and finally, satisfied, he walked away proud of himself. And your lip was cut and bleeding, and your nose was bleeding. But at least the fight was all over. You lost like you knew you would. You're remembering that scene as you're driving home. You're still driving home from work. Remembering it just as though it happened yesterday. It still makes you mad to think about it. There's a bully in everybody's life. But then you know that, you see the tie-up between this success you've been having and that bully, that experience, how You couldn't stand there and wait for him to do it. Just like you're so convinced that this success can't last, you don't know if you can wait till it ends. You know it's too good to be true. It can't last. You know this. You're sure the whole thing's going to come tumbling down around your head. There's no real reason to feel this way. There really isn't a bully there now grabbing onto your handlebars, waiting for the chance to fight you. The bully's in the back of your own mind. The many people who told you you would be a bum and a failure. These people are there in the back of your mind. They're the bully. You hear them telling you that you won't succeed. And you're succeeding anyway, and it frightens you. Failure must be just around the corner. It's almost like you're disobeying them by having a successful home life, doing well on the job. They would disapprove of you if you succeeded. If you fail, they'll all come running, clucking around you like mother hen saying, "I told you so, I told you so." And they'll bring you cigarettes and say, "We'll help you as soon as you get better." They all come then. The only time they noticed you was when you were in trouble. When you were successful like now, they don't seem to be as interested in you. They seem to be more interested in you when you're having a lot of troubles and problems. So your feeling of nervousness continues. You're still driving home. You decide to stop at a bar and have just one quick one. You say to yourself it will just be one, just to settle your nerves. One to celebrate your promotion. In the back of your mind you know this isn't true, but you tell yourself that's what you're doing. What you're really doing is running from the success you experienced today, running from disapproval, afraid that those people somewhere, somehow will tell you, "You were supposed to fail, what's the matter? Why aren't you failing for me?" This way, if you start drinking, it will be pleasing all those people who knew you would never make it anyway. You're pulling up outside the bar and getting out of your car, walking toward the bar, having a big fight with yourself about this. Walking into the bar now, and you decide to have your favorite drink. You're seeing all this just as though you were going through it right now. There it is. It's arrived quickly. Drink sitting there in front of you. Pick up the glass and start pouring it down. It tastes really good. And suddenly, time collapses. Something happened, you don't remember what happened. But the next thing you know, you're on a dark, lonely, deserted street. It's dark outside. You don't know where your car is now. You're trying to get home. Off in the distance, you hear a police siren wailing in the night. You walk a little faster because the siren sound frightens you. As you walk along, you notice that you feel groggy, but there's a bottle of booze in your pocket. You're walking faster. This booze bangs against your trouser leg in your pocket, walking past empty houses, closed shops. Suddenly you hear footsteps behind you. You're walking faster. The steps speed up. You start running. You feel that you're running for your life. The footsteps behind you speed up. Someone's running after you. You're running and not seeming to go any place. 3 men are running toward you. The faster you try to run away, they seem to be getting closer. They're shouting at you. They're cursing. They're saying they're going to get you. You're running with all your might now. The bottle seems to slow you down as it hits against your hip. You're groggy from the drinking. They all have big knives. They're almost up with you. You scream for help. There's no answer. Your lungs are burning. You can hardly pull the air in and out of your lungs. Your legs are pumping and pumping. And finally you stumble and fall. You hear a crash. The bottle smashes in your pocket. The booze splashes out. It smells terrible. It's all over you, all over the sidewalk. And then they've caught up with you. They're jumping on you. They're stomping on you. They're kicking your stomach. You're getting sick. You try to scream. Your scream is drowned in their hilarious laughter. And the last thing before everything goes black is this horrible smell of booze. Now let yourself relax, going into a relaxed state. Just let yourself completely unwind. Every muscle becoming more and more relaxed. More and more relaxed. You're taking a few deep breaths now. Each deep breath you take makes your whole body relax. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Going deeper, deeper into a relaxed state. The last scene fading, fading more completely all the time. Now we're going to play that last scene over again with a different ending. You're driving home. Get the picture. You come home from work. The boss just told you about the promotion, the extra responsibility. The job will be easier in some ways. The responsibility will be a little greater. The money will be greater. But you still have this feeling of uneasiness. Is it going to last? How long will it go on? But this time, as you begin feeling this feeling of uneasiness, you're telling yourself, just relax. Just relax. Letting your whole body as you drive along on your way home become completely relaxed. Completely relaxed this time. Thinking about some other things that used to worry you. Why was it? Just on the edge of success, always right on the edge of success, you somehow managed to goof it up. What was it so terrifying about being successful, about having all your debts paid? Why was it that just on the edge of success is when you always had to have that drink? You're thinking about it now with no panic, no fear, because this this time you're telling yourself to relax. You're able to think these thoughts. You recognized how, at first, the promotion, how the feeling everything was going good, maybe a little too good, started to upset you, but you just let yourself relax. You feel really good about having told yourself to relax through this situation. Some people get upset by failure. Some people can actually become panicked by success. Some people can become panicked by both. So you're still driving home. You're thinking, what if I succeed? Who's going to get mad at me? And then you remember those voices in the past, the ones that said, you're going to spend a lot of time in jail. You're going to be a drunken bum. You're remembering those voices. Only this time, instead of thinking, oh, uh-oh, I guess they're right. It is coming. It's coming sooner, getting closer. They were right. This time you think, I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen at all. You start thinking, because I'm succeeding now at home, on my job, that doesn't mean it's going to get worse. That doesn't mean that something just around the corner is going to happen. And it doesn't mean I'm disobeying anybody's orders. Maybe I am disobeying orders by succeeding. But that's tough on them. If they need somebody to fail, let them find another boy. Because I'm tired of ending up in jail so they can come and cluck around me like mother hens saying, I told you so, I told you so. I'm tired of that. You're telling yourself. This time, by the time you get to the bar, driving along near the bar, by the time you get even with the bar, you haven't stopped your car. You're completely relaxed this time. Completely relaxed. And you know that you don't need to go in there to prove they were right, that you're no good. You feel so relaxed. You feel ready to go right on having this successful experience that you have been having. You feel ready to enjoy life. You feel ready to indulge yourself a little in some things you've wanted for a long time. You feel ready to really reward yourself. Maybe it's a fishing rod, something like that, that you somehow never thought you were worthy of, but now you're going to go get it because you've got this raise coming. You've been really successful. You feel like you really deserve something, you earned something, and you're really proud of yourself. And as you drive past that bar, it's fading a block behind you, 2 blocks behind you, 4 blocks, and finally miles behind you. You feel better than you can remember ever feeling in your whole life. It's a fantastic feeling of relief. It's really a great sensation. You don't know when you felt so good. And when you know that when you get home, the people there are going to be glad to see you. You're going to be glad to see them. Now just let yourself continue relaxing, going into a more and more relaxed state, deeper, deeper into a state of relaxation. Now we're going to finish up on a scene that we started before. If you remember, you had been to the Grand Canyon. We've gotten a glimpse of it. And now, let's have you imagine that you were there with your woman and you had a big fight. Or at least she was trying to fight with you. All through the fight, though, you had kept yourself completely relaxed, answering her questions, throwing a lot of them back at her. You found that by directing things back to her, you don't need to defend quite so much, because they want to seem to keep you on trial for everything that's ever happened in the past, everything that you ever did wrong, every drink you ever had, every time you put your socks on backwards or parted your hair wrong. It seems that everything comes up when they get in a fight like that, but you wouldn't let them bring up the past. You went over. You were sitting in the coffee shop. Imagine yourself now in the coffee shop. And there's three fellows there. And they say, come on over and join us. So you sit down by them. You figure, you know, you've always liked to shoot the breeze with the boys. And since you're trying to take a little break from the fight you had, let everything cool down with your woman, you sit down at the table with these fellows, and one of them says to the waitress, "Waitress, bring us 4 beers." You say, "No thanks. For me, just make it 3 beers. I want a Coke." They all look at you a little funny, like, you know, what's the matter with you? And the fellow that ordered said, "No, make that 4 beers." So you don't say anything, except you say, "I'd like a Coke. Bring that too, please." So they bring the 4 beers, put one in front of each of you. They bring the Coke too. And you're sitting there, they start pouring out their beer. You take a sip out of your Coke. And you decide to open up the conversation. You say, There's some fantastic scenery around here. I've waited all my life to see it. And I'm sure glad I got the chance. They look at you and they say, look, aren't you going to drink your beer? You say, well, no, I don't drink. They say, well, what's the matter with you? Why don't you drink? And it'd be easy now for you to say, well, okay, I'll take this drink. But you didn't feel like having a drink. You wanted a Coke. And so you say, well, thanks anyway, fellas, but I really don't need a beer right now. And you push the beer a little bit across the table. You say, I know one of you fellows be able to take care of this. And as you push the beer across the table, you find yourself filling with a sense of deep relief, complete relaxation. Your whole body just seems to become completely relaxed as you push that beer across the table. A smile comes on your face because you're feeling so good, feeling really good. And they look at you and they wonder, what's so funny? That then they even ask you a little bit more about it. And you smile even more because you're feeling so good about having pushed that beer away. And they can't understand that good feeling that you have. And you realize that they aren't going to be satisfied until you have a drink and you don't feel like having a drink. You finish your Coke, go back, and you hit the sack, and as you remember, your girlfriend or your woman that you had with you there was very affectionate that night. And now it's the next morning. You're waking up, it's early morning, and you didn't drink last night. You were tempted to, but you didn't. And now, your reward for not drinking stands in front of you. The sun's just barely coming in. Get up and throw your clothes on. You rush outside to the canyon. It's just like you thought it would be. It's even better. The colors are out of this world. Unbelievable. You look down into the huge crater, realize that the tiny river down at the bottom carved out this mile-deep hole. You look at that little trickle down in the bottom and think of the river of booze that you might have drank last night, and if you had, you'd be sick in bed right now instead of staring down at this beautiful natural canyon. The sun begins hitting the top levels of rock in the canyon. Down deep in the canyon it's still gray. Where the sun hits the rock below, bright orange, reds, browns, yellows, a rainbow of colors. Each minute goes by. You standing there holding her hand. Another layer of rock each minute comes to life, begins glowing in bright colors under the rays of the sun. You haven't been drinking for some time now, and you're feeling on top of the world. You really are on top of the world at 7,000 feet or so up. A cool breeze plays over your whole body. You feel really great. You feel like you are a complete and whole person. Along the canyon sides there's ridges, little sagebrush, pine. The green is in contrast with the bright glowing colors on the rocks. It's an exhilarating, exciting experience, almost like you were on a roller coaster. feeling the thrill of an exciting ride, just standing there holding her hand, watching this fantastic expanse of nature in front of you. It's one of the best experiences you can remember. Makes you think of the time in early youth when your father lifted you high in the air and you were a little frightened but very excited. Now as you stare down with the colors glowing, each ray of the sun lighting up more. This will be the end of session number 14. Rousing up now 1, 2, rousing up 3, 4, your eyes are open but still relaxed. Eyes open, still relaxed.